Welcome to the Backyard Professor Responds videos. I am very excited to show you this video at a DOD facility taken by one of the night guards. I'm going to call him a guard. I don't know what he was, but he noticed it after it showed up, and he zooms in on this thing on video. This is the most incredible video. It's like this UAP knows that this guard spotted him, and it disappears when he zooms in. And then when he zooms back out, it reappears. I mean, right in front of our eyes, man. And then he zooms back in and he gets the actual shape of the UAP. He gets the shape, and it's fairly clear. It's a good camera. And then when he zoomed in the second time, it disappeared again. So let's take a look at this. This is really, really interesting. Now, he sped up the first minute of the video or so. Okay, there's the glowing orb right there. Did you see it blink out? It's down there by those lights on the horizon. Parking lot lights.
Over the horizon.
There we go.
Slow it down here. Now it's just halted in midair.
Look at it getting bigger.
Then shortly I zoom in.
What he does here next is really interesting.
I'm going to pause here. And that's the object.
Look at that.
That I zoomed in on. I'm going to play it again. I zoom back out because I really can't believe what I'm seeing.
Wow. Wow.
So I zoom back in. And as I zoom back in, it disappears there. It just fades out.
It's gone.
So I zoom back out to make sure that's just not a camera issue. And then it reappears. So I zoom back in immediately. And there it is again. And then as I zoom in this second time or third time, it disappears again. And unfortunately on this phone camera, you can't see it, but it fades off gently to the right. It's very pixelated on this camera.
And it disappears. Wow. So that's the video. Whoa. Right on a DOD facility site. So, and the shape of the video shows up, it disappears. It's almost like it knew he was zooming in on it, etc. Now, this is going to be for an education of my audience. Welcome to all you new subscribers. Appreciate all your support. Appreciate your enthusiasm. I love your comments. I try to read them all. Try to get as much responding as I can. So tonight, I'm really excited for this video, but not for the reason you think. Because this is not a UAP. Now, there's a beautiful, rational explanation for what we just saw. Tonight, we're going to learn how to apply our critical thinking skills to UAP videos like this. This is going to be the most valuable video I share with my audience up to date right now of all my 24 plus videos I've produced in the last month. This is by far the most important one. I found this on Reddit, RUFO. And I am going to go through some comments for you. And I'm going to share the idea here. It's a very important idea. Here is where we gain knowledge, which gives us power to keep us from being deceived. Okay. Now, I'm a believer in the UAP. I think there's enough evidence with the gimbal and those with the Fravor videos, etc., from the the jet, and other instances of people's ideas on the UAPs. But this needs to be done as well. This is the flip side of our UAP investigation, is knowing when something is not real. This does not refute the actual UAPs. It doesn't. But what it's going to do is teach us how to look more carefully at evidence. And this is so critically important. Now, the guy who posted this worked at a DoD facility, and he took it down. He might have gotten in trouble for posting this. They talk about that in the comments. Watch with sound, and you'd know that without looking at the UI, the video is narrated by whoever is recording it. So it's always amazing to me how often people mistake camera/video manipulation for an object's movement, and that's very important. Here's one of the comments. Yeah, I can't believe he would post a security video on a public forum like this. That seems very risky. As for the video itself, it definitely warrants further analysis, and that's what I'm going to do tonight. It's way down here. The fade out of the object is really interesting to me. It seems like it follows what witnessing an object in a higher dimension to look like from our dimension. There was a good YouTube video on observing dimensions from our dimension that shows it. So we can see where people's minds are taking us about this video. This is an important part of our education here tonight. The fade out of the object really is interesting. There's no question about that. It's like they can tell they risk being caught by observers sometimes. I witnessed one up close IRL in 2008. It was seriously like less than 60 meters away from me, just hanging completely still. As soon as I got my phone out to take a picture, it sped off with incredible speed, made a tracer, and went beyond the horizon. There are real UAPs out there, but this spectacular video that we just witnessed is not one of them. The guys on Debunking have identified the hangar as one of the C-17 hangars at the Pittsburgh airport. And then they show pictures of the hangar, etc. Then someone asks, can someone explain to me how a commercial aircraft can hover and look like a top? It's not hovering. It is flying toward the camera. It just seems to be moving very slowly. It looks like a spinning top because of a number of reasons. This is important. The brightness of its landing lights causes glare within the camera. It is also out of focus. This causes it to look a little bit like a blob, but the aperture within the camera's lens system cuts off the edges, and you get a shape that matches the aperture shape, which is roughly diamond shaped. That's critical. I will show you a picture of a camera aperture. Here's where we get our education. Always hard to know if the shape of a bright object like this is an artifact of lens flare or some other imaging issue when zooming at high levels. The night vision footage of the pyramids over the U.S. warship was devalued in my mind because it was clear that stars were also triangle shaped through the image intensifier phone camera combo. It's still interesting footage. Yes. And the saucer shape definitely looks like bokeh because the bright pole light shows that same shape. It looks like a military base. The plain wingtip on the left right at the end does not look commercial. Got to keep in mind that the story and the video are two different unverified things. You can't use one to prove anything about the other. And that's important also, the bokeh idea. If you look closely at the video is paused when the shapes appear. It's not actually changing shape. The camera is panning or zooming and then paused while this is happening, which is causing the shapes. I don't think you can rule out a bokeh effect. Check out the lamp in the foreground at 1 minute 10 seconds, demonstrating a similar effect and shape due to the shape of the aperture. That is important. We will see that clearly in another video. He states specifically in the video that he readjusts the zoom in an attempt to correct a possible focus issue, and it wasn't a problem. I find it very hard to believe, very, very hard, that an incredibly expensive Air Force security camera doesn't have autofocus. Like, no joke, the security camera sensitive government facilities are insane in terms of quality and capability, and so on and so forth. The more I watch the video, the less enchanting it gets. What appears to be unusual is easily explainable. The object is clearly just on a slow linear trajectory like any normal flight. You see this as the video is rewound at the beginning and the path of the object is highlighted. The shape of the light is unusual, but that's just likely the bokeh effect from the zoom in. The object is stationary, but the zoom initially gives an impression of rapid movement, which never happens. The object moves slowly the entire video. Finally, the fade out could just be low cloud cover passing in front of the object. The weather is clearly amendable to this explanation. Look at the diffuse rays emanating from the floodlight covering the compound. I'd say it's just a regular flight, and the zooming and disappearance of the light make it look more mysterious than it actually is. This is so important that we all begin to understand how cameras work and how they're made and the effect on light, because, quite frankly, anybody who's taking pictures at night or videos at night is going to have this issue to contend with. And here is the issue. What you will see is a short demonstration of how different cameras make different image artifacts, that is, effects, in regard with focus and defocus actions. The light in the sky, what I filmed was planet Venus. This is really a fascinating demonstration. Let's take a look. First, I've used a high-definition camera, a Panasonic model. That's important. Here's Venus is up in the sky. There's Venus. Next, I'll zoom in on it. Focus is manual, not quite at infinite. So Venus is slightly defocused. Now watch what it does when he zooms in on this. And that's just him not being able to keep the camera steady. That's just jiggling like crazy at that point. Notice how it makes it look like a saucer. Watch what happens when he defocuses. This is critically important. There's your UAP. Shows a rhombus. It shows horizontal lines that don't belong to Venus, but this is made by the camera. It's trying to copy the shape of the internal iris or shutter mechanism. And I'll show you a picture of that here in just a few minutes. This is light diffraction or interference inside the camera. That's what's causing the shape of Venus to look like a UAP. So now he zooms out a bit. This is interesting too, how this changes this. So he's going to defocus a little bit more, and the orb will grow. There's that horizontal line again. It's rounder, but it's got the horizontal line. But that's just Venus out of focus. This is a very important thing that he is doing. We should be very grateful that this guy is doing this for us so that we can begin to see that not all videos about UAPs are valid at all, and we have to put on our thinking cap, we have to be discriminating, and we have to be realistic about what it is we're trying to see, rather than be believing just because I'll believe it when I see it is a fool's errand. I will say that again. Just because you see something doesn't make your interpretation of it accurate. This is so important. Right. Truly. Let's keep going and see what else he says, because this is really a great discussion here. Now he's going to zoom on the light bulb. Watch this. This is astonishing. Look at that UAP, huh? Yeah. Wow. There's your UAP at night. You want to see what it really is? It'll blow your mind. Focus on the bulb to see its real shape. That's out of focus. It's looking like this because of the way the camera is made. Now look at that image. It's a street light. That's all it is. Glowing at night. And he's right. Speed up this part. It's not important. But what he does next is extremely interesting. There's a well-focused image right here. And I love what he does here. And then I'm just about done. He's going to unfocus it. Watch this. This is proof that it's the camera making the shape. Look at that. There's your UFO right there. But look at this. Look at this. A whole army of UFOs. They've all got the same shape. They've got that horizontal line, etc. Then you rotate the camera, and what's it going to do? Dude, there's a whole bunch of them. Yeah. But notice the horizontal line stayed the same. They are not object properties, but camera image artifacts. The horizon sloped, but the objects didn't. So that is so important to see that effect. This shows us that we must be critical, not disbelieving, but critical in its proper sense of being careful about belief. We all want the UAP evidence to be good. That doesn't mean we let our guard down and accept shoddy, lousy evidence. That's not what we're about. We want the real deal. Now, let me share one more idea that will show you why that shape occurs. And this is extremely important. There is the shape of a camera shutter. There is the shape of a camera shutter. Notice the diamond. That diamond is when the light reflects in the lens and it's going out the only aperture that it can, that aperture is a diamond aperture, and that's what distorts the round, out of focus light into looking like a saucer, a disc, because of that feature of a camera lens. So, someday, a lot of you could be thanking me for this video. I would really like to see that, because this type of object lesson is so important, because the media is in a frenzy right now, which I will talk about tomorrow night on my live. We are being deceived by debunkers because they assume that all of us UAP nut job, brain dead idiots living in Fantasyland will believe anything we see? Not this one. This UAP believer is going to be careful, critical. I want to keep it real, and I'm going to share with my audience ways to help us keep it real. There's real evidence out there, manipulated photos, manipulated videos that show weird looking cool UAP shapes that aren't UAP shapes is not part of that evidence. So that's my Backyard Professor Responds videos. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is one of the most important videos I've shared so far. This is what I mean when I say, hey, we can think, even if it's such a spectacular video of a UAP at the right spot, that doesn't make it real until we test the validity of the evidence. Do not just believe it because you see it, because what you see may not be. Thanks for watching my BYP Responds videos. I'll catch up to you soon with more good information for you. Have a great night.